Hey there, found footage 3Ders. I realized this afternoon that it has been a very, very long time since I did any sort of video diary or behind the scenes video for you guys. So I wanted to go ahead and do one of those and get it out to you. As you can tell, the beard has been growing all of this time. It's starting to get quite long. It's down to here. It's a lot to manage. I had kind of never expected that it would get quite as long as it has. But my newborn baby boy, who has been keeping me busy recently, loves to snuggle in it. And so I'm keeping it at least for a little while longer. So one of the reasons why it has taken me so long to do another video is that I have been very, very busy, obviously, making the film. And one of the reasons for that is that I am more or less the entire post-production department for the movie. We have a visual effects department led by Trevor Harris and a company called Mighty Coconut doing some effects for us. But aside from that, I'm basically doing everything myself. And one of those responsibilities is the sound for the film. Many of you may not know this, but sound is what I do for a living when I'm not directing my own stuff. It's what I teach at the University of Texas in the film department. And it's what I love to do. It's what I've loved doing since I was, a wee little lad of 12 or 13 years old. So one of the fun things about working on a horror movie is getting to do the sound. The sound in a horror movie is really, really a huge part of the experience, and so getting it right is very, very important. Today I'm going to be recording some sounds. I can't tell you exactly what it is or why it is that I'm recording these things. You'll get the idea when you see what I'm doing, but I don't want to sort of spoil or anything. But let's just say that one of the characters meets a particularly gruesome end towards the end of the movie, and we're going to be recording some of the sound effects that hopefully I'll be able to use for the sound of his death. If you look behind me, you will see various different fruits and vegetables. We've got some melons, coconut. We've also got a couple of rotisserie chickens. And here we have a hatchet and a hammer. So you guys can imagine why I'm recording this stuff and what I'm going to be using it for. Now, a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be recording today is stuff that I can pull, potentially pull from a library, but I haven't really, I wasn't really happy with any of the sounds that I have in my library already or any of the sounds that I've recorded for previous movies. So I wanted to do some experimentation and see if I could get something better. And I figured as long as I'm doing it, I'd show you guys. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my cell phone and unplug the refrigerator, and we will beat the shit out of some vegetables and see if we get any interesting sounds. So I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so this is our basic setup. I've got our microphone here, I've got my recorder, I've got my Zoom recorder up here to get a little bit of a more distant sound to hear what that sounds like. And of course, we're going to begin with our old standby, the cantaloupe, which is a very oft-used Foley prop in horror movies in particular. I am going to have to turn these lights off, unfortunately, because they are buzzing. We need to get this recorded as cleanly as possible, obviously. All right, here we go. This is going to be a level test on the cantaloupe with the hammer. Oh, that's pretty cool. I am going to put the actual sound that we're recording here and sync it up with the video so you guys can hear what we're talking about. All right, this is going to be the cantaloupe with the hatchet, the blunt end of the hatchet. Jesus. All right, I'm going to try with the sharp end of the hatchet, see what that sounds like. Oh, I should have known that was going to happen. Well, that was not the sound I was looking for. But we still have most of the cantaloupe left. But this, you know what? I was going to use this to try to protect the floor, but I think as long as I do not use the sharp end of the hatchet, I should be okay. Nobody tell my landlord. All right. Trying to find a balance between hitting it as hard as I can to really get a nice hard thwack and not running out of cantaloupe on this second hit, but also to get more of that sort of squishy sound, because if you hit it really, really hard, you tend to sort of lose the squishiness of it, which is kind of half the point of doing this to a piece of fruit like this in the first place. It's kind of throwing seeds everywhere, and I'm definitely hearing that too, so. Yeah, that squishiness, it's pretty cool. Squishiness is a very essential part of any horror experience. Ooh, that was a good one. Well, I think that about wraps it up for the cantaloupe. Next we're gonna go with, this is jicama. And I've never actually done this before. I am not sure at all what this is gonna sound like, but we're gonna try it and we'll see. It's got a nice juiciness to it, but it's probably gonna be drowned out by a lot of what else is going on in this particular scene. And that's all she wrote for the jicama. This is called a golden honeydew. I imagine it'll probably sound largely similar to the cantaloupe, although the outer part I think is not as hard, and it's a little more hollow on the interior. Well, not exactly what I'm looking for this particular effect, but one of the cool things about recording effects like this is that you can always reuse them. You can always go into, I'm sort of continuing to build up my library of gross, horror-y kind of sounds. That was a nice little hollow kind of thwack. So, in addition to cleanup considerations, one of the reasons why I'm doing this in my kitchen is because this particular scene that I'm doing this for takes place in a very similar sounding space. Normally, if I were just doing this sort of for general stuff, or if I wanted to really be able to use this in a lot of other things, this room is a little bit live sounding, meaning there's a lot of sort of echo, there's a lot of hard surfaces, things bouncing off, and you get this kind of reverby sound to it. But that's what I'm actually looking for in this particular case. So, all right, so we're gonna move on to the vegetable family. I've been saving this one because to me, like in terms of the hardness, the hollowness, this is the one that sounds the most like a human skull. Not bad. I used to be a bartender a long, long time ago, and when I went to bartending school, one of the things the instructor said to me was, if you're not making a mess and you're not having fun, then you aren't bartending right. I think the same can definitely be said for making sounds for horror movies. It's about to get real messy in here. We got ourselves a coconut. So you can hear there's water in it. Probably would have been best to drill this thing out, get that water out before I did this, so it doesn't end up everywhere. But you know what? Like I just said, if you're not making a mess, you aren't bartending. See, now that's a nice loud thwack. Oh, all right, well, we're making a pina colada. Okay, and last, certainly not least, we've got this. As far as all of the things that we've got right here that we have played around with today, this is certainly the one that is probably the closest to actual flesh and bone. I mean, it is actual flesh and bone. So sometimes, when you're recording sound, it's not necessarily that you want to get the actual thing that you're doing and record that sound, because sometimes that sound doesn't sound the way that you think that it would in your head, or the way that other movies have done it in the past, or it sounds a little wimpy, or it sounds just not right, which is weird because it actually is right. And so you take something else that's bigger or hollower or has a different sound, and you do that for the sound that you're going for. But I did want to try this. The advantage of this one is that, you know, obviously it's a chicken carcass. It's got some bones in it. It's got some squishiness. I have a feeling I could get some good sounds out of this. This is the H-E-B Mesquite Barbecue chef-prepared rotisserie chicken, in case anybody is, wanting to play along at home. See, that's got nice squishiness, but it doesn't really have any of the sort of thwacky hardness. Now, one of the things that we do with sound effects, of course, is I'm not going to necessarily find one sound effect that's like, oh, that's the perfect sound effect. That's exactly what I need. I drop it in and I'm done. Most sound effects, especially stuff like this, are layered about, from many different layers of stuff. So we might use the cantaloupe sound for the sort of hard, hollow, thwacky hit. We might use the coconut to get that sort of bone-breaking, skull-breaking kind of sound. And we might use the chicken or the golden honeydew or something like that to get the more of this sort of squishy, horror-y kind of sound. That's chicken number one, and as long as we're down here, we may as well finish off the Italian herb chicken. These are actually quite tasty when they're fresh. One of our family's staples. They're quite delicious with some mac and cheese. Maybe a little steamed broccoli for a little health factor. Today, we're gonna axe the shit out of it. All right, well, that's that. All right, so that about wraps it up for that particular endeavor. I will go ahead and take all of the sound files that I generated from this, and I'll bring them into the computer, and I'll drop them into my Pro Tools timeline and hear how everything sounds in comparison to sort of what's already there, and whether or not sounds need to cut through more, or whether it's too bassy or too trebly, and of course there's a whole mixing process. But this is the sort of raw gathering of sound effects part of the process. It's very, very messy, as you can see, and right now I have to make sure that I clean it all up before my wife gets home, because she will not be happy to see it.